My first memory of going to the movies is my parents taking me and my brother. I think I was only 4, and they said, if anyone asks you, you're 5. I was told to lie about my age in show business right out of the gate.
Do you remember your first kiss on screen?
I should. I don't.
What's the first dialect you had to master from another planet?
Navi.
Do you remember your Navi?
Scound. Just means idiot, that's all.
First film that made you want to fall in love?
Probably Gone with the Wind. I used to write letters to myself from Rhett Butler. Yeah.
That was my first ever job on TV. I was also pregnant.
The character?
Yes, I've never been pregnant.
Yeah, Shaft, that was so fun. That's my whole scene in the movie.
No lines.
They cut everything that I did. I still get residuals.
I did a lot of Hallmark in the beginning. I think I kissed David Arquette. I'm still kissing him in my mind.
Your first memory of film?
Little Mermaid. But now I'm like kind of embarrassed by it. I mean, she gives up her voice to get a vagina. It's like not that good of a story for a woman, but I just thought she was so pretty.
No, it wasn't what I had imagined. I had a whole other scenario in my mind, doing like showcase theater pieces off-Broadway, off-Broadway. But instead, I got flown to Hollywood, arrived on the lot of MGM. They weren't going to give me a screen test. I was so disappointing to them. But I think they felt bad that they had flown me all the way out from New York. Just run some film on her, and then let's send her home. So they did, and then the director called the producer. By the time I left, they'd given me the job. It was my very first audition.
My first sex scene was in my very first full-length feature. It's called Surrender, Dorothy. I hope you never see it. Their idea of a closed set was that we'd shot the scene inside of a tent. It was like that moment when I thought, ooh, I'm really gonna have to leave some dignity on the floor like every day to do this job, which is true. Brush some dignity right off of you. I've had good ones.
What are your good ones?
I don't want to say because I don't want certain actors to feel slighted.
One of the things that I thought was so enticing about Belle was who you are and being comfortable with yourself. In fact, sometimes I think even more when it is a period drama and you get lulled into the false sense of security that it's a different period, and then actually finding all the contemporary resonances and the things that we all can relate to. I really felt thankful for my Shakespearean background because it meant that I could use that language and find the freedom within it.
I really wanted to be taken seriously at 6, 7 years old. My first audition was a commercial. I think it was probably for some sort of fish stick, maybe a chip. There's 10 of us down a line and the camera follows each one. Brianne, what do you like to do? I like to act. Right, but what else do you like to do? I like to act. You're like, okay, pan over to the next kid who's gonna talk about how much they love ice cream. And I could feel myself just shaking. My mom was like, what's wrong? They didn't ask me about my monologue. So embarrassing. You know, it's the biggest lesson you'll learn in life is you gotta lighten up.
I read a quote that you said, everything you're doing, I'm doing in heels.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I wasn't a producer on date night, and that outfit was rough, and I had to wear it the whole movie. I had a high heel shoe, and I had said, what if I wore like a ballroom dancing shoe that's flexible and then I could run? And they were like, no, we don't have to listen to you. And so they made a custom-made shoe that had a steel rod, and it was so painful. I have hip problems to this day. I mean, I thought, if I'm ever a producer on a movie, I'm not gonna do that again. And I just made this movie, The Nest, with Amy, where we had to wear this like party outfits for the half of the movie. Guess what? I'm wearing a low boot with a solid heel. Take that, Hollywood.
I worked at a strip mall in Florida in a theater that was closed down for tax fraud. And even though I was one of the leads of the show, he would not pay for my housing because I was non-equity. And so I did the laundry for the entire cast. So all I did that whole time I was there was just iron. I just ironed and ironed all the time.
What was the first big paycheck then?
Oh, easy peasy. I went to New York to visit some friends from Summer Stock, and they sent me to this agent, Jeannie Nicolosi. She said, can you do Shakespeare? Can you do comedy? Can you do tragedy? And I could, and I didn't realize that I had really been training for this all along. And she sent me to an audition at the Roundabout to understudy, and I got that job, and I stayed in New York.
That was interesting to get to approach this like I used to approach ballet, like learning a new dance. I was learning to be something else. And I felt like with Avatar, I really did get the opportunity to know what it was like to be a part of an experiment. And I realized if I'm going to continue being an actor, I only want to work with filmmakers that give me that respect.
Every time I work, I feel that sense of newness. There's the same fear, there's the same trepidation, and each character hopefully gets in and kind of uncovers something else within each of us as actors. And when something happens, like you said, like as a first time, that's what we all hunger for. That alchemy of that kind of moment that nobody planned, nobody knew, that's when you're getting the good stuff. You never know when that's going to happen.